I don't even know if I'm allowed to say this, but that report that came out,
yes, that was
about Russ, that hit job, out of here with that. That was terrible. Welcome to the Basket Buds edition of the Athletic NBA Show podcast on the Athletic Podcast Network. I'm your host, Zach Harper. We got Jay King. We got Trevon Edwards. We got Mo Dakhil. We've got controversy in the NFL, but it pales in comparison to controversy in the NBA. That's not true. But man, just real quick on the Super Bowl. I just love, we were always going to find something to complain about as a society. We were always going to find something to complain about. Once the guy says, yeah, I held him, we should probably drop it, right?
I stopped at that point. I was so convinced it was not a hold, and then he said he held him, and I was like, all right, he said it. I'm not going to. My favorite's
going to be Eagles fans trying to convince him he did not hold him.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I think at best this just this stops the doxing of the referees. I think, but that's it.
Nah, Philly fans are super rational, so I'm sure they're going to take this one in stride.
Will Blackman said it best. He had been holding most of the game. They didn't even make this call. They let them play. No PIs, no holds. I think it was one defensive hold early on before, right?
Yeah.
They finally call it. It's clear as day. Now,
it's
I get
old,
it. No, but I get it. It's the same line as basketball where we're like, you can't make that call.
Why are you calling this moving screen now? Right? Like that right. Kind of thing. Yeah.
But that's just a fan perspective. If it happens, it happens. We have to accept it as fans. Yeah. But again, everyone wanted to see Hurts be able to make this heroic drive after the field goal because they probably would have went up 3. And now he has like a minute and a half to play with on a kind of 2-minute drill situation. Yeah. And he had been balling air and ground. So rightfully so.
They need the Elam ending in NFL.
Oh, I like that idea.
I'm not mad at it, but guys just get too hurt. So I don't know about that. But
also they got a gift fumble taken for a touchdown taken away. So maybe the Eagles weren't that screwed. I don't know.
Also, Eagles fans wouldn't have been mad if the shoe was on the other foot if they ate up the clock and kicked the field goal. So it was like, why would they do that? That's like the coward way to go out. And it's like, no, that's high IQ football.
What you don't kick it.
You're not supposed to punt. You're not supposed to.
No.
Because anything can turn into anything.
Punting's for losers and quitters.
But the squib kick, easy setup with 8 seconds. I'll trust a squib over anything.
Yo, man.
And just say, all right, figure it out.
I didn't check to see if Jalen Hurts got hit on that last throw, but what a noodle arm if he didn't. Oh my God, the thing went 30 yards, man. That was me playing. That was me playing quarterback right there. Yeah, that was like,
there we go.
That was deep. Let's see how far I can throw this.
It's been Super Bowl week. I felt.
Remember, we talked about this not too long ago when I played varsity quarterback.
Yeah.
At first, I was like, I'm going to be a receiver. And we never had quarterbacks that could actually hit us, like hit our number. I would do like these little screens and kind of have to create and do these things that I wanted to do. So I was like, man, I'm going to play quarterback. And my coach was like, all right, go ahead. First of all, huddling up. I got bad ADD. I forget the plays.
No, you remember the play?
The plays, everything. First of all, that.
You need the armband.
Then I'm like trying to run my back, throwing off my back foot. All that matters.
Yeah.
That matters, dog. Like it makes you have such an appreciation for the quarterback because you have to be like, and that's another thing. First guy, second guy, third guy, and maybe a deep guy. You have to plus the defense. So it's one.
Trey, once I found out that quarterbacks were like predicting what the defense was going to do by looking before that, I'm like, how the hell do you tell that? Like there's
too much going on.
There's no way.
I went right back to skill positions, Zach.
Yeah.
Finished my career as a wide receiver, called it a day. Didn't even want to deal with it no more. So I stopped complaining about quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes, whatever drug they gave him at halftime.
Oh,
well, speaking of giving people stuff so they can play, I'm so glad you said that, Trey. This is what we call a transition. The beef between the Warriors and the Blazers in one of the funniest standoffs I've seen in a long time over a transaction. Like we've seen teams complain about like there was tampering here or whatever, right? But this was Gary Payton II, who has played 15 of the previous 17 games for the Blazers, gets traded that 4-team deal. We'll talk about the deadline in a second. He gets traded in that 4-team deal that brings James Wiseman to the Pistons, and we got Sadiq Bey to the Hawks, and we got a bunch of picks and people nobody wants to the Blazers. And the Warriors do this physical, and they say we can't pass GP2 on the physical. We just can't do it. He's got an injury that's going to put him out for 2 to 3 months. But we're past the deadline. So the rule, like, you can't alter a deal past the deadline, even if something like this comes up. And so the Warriors are complaining to the league office, I think trying to get like a pick out of this. And the league's like, what do you want us to do? Our hands are tied. There's nothing you can add or take away from this trade. Like it's the trade or it's nothing. And the whole time, I feel like the Warriors, I don't know that Joe Lacob can be told no, right? in a situation,
he's a billionaire,
like this.
Of course not.
He's a billionaire. They're super successful. He's light years ahead, and to be told like that's all you like, this is all we can do. Like take the trade or don't take the trade. And they're saying the Blazers didn't disclose anything. I ruled on this in the in beef court for the newsletter, The Bounce, which you subscribe to at theathletic.com/bounce newsletter. This is something where I rule with the Blazers on this. Now, I don't know if the Blazers disclose what they need to disclose. I have no idea if they went about it the right way. The reason I rule on Portland's side on this is because you can't have this big 48-hour craze about this trade. Will it go through? Won't it go through? And then have Gary Payton II sit with Mike Dunleavy Jr. and Bob Myers at a Warriors game. You don't it doesn't work that way. You can't tell me we don't know if we're going to do this trade when this dude's in the owner's box. Mo, what's happening here?
No, it's dumb. I think just across the board. And you know what I find even dumber, Zach? He's probably gonna end up playing a game or two in the next week.
It'd be on Tuesday if they play Tuesday. I don't know what.
Right? It wouldn't shock me at all with all that. It was all posturing, and just the dumb thing about this whole thing was they saved so much money on that
$35 million in luxury tax, right? Yeah,
right. And then on top of all of that, they weren't playing Wiseman. It wasn't like they lost a rotation player, and it would have been even more awkward to bring Wiseman back. This deal was always going to go through. Mm-hmm. I would have been more shocked if they were like, no, let's not do it.
I do think the league has to have some way of handling a situation like this, where this was 4 teams. 4 teams come to an agreement to make a trade. And it all goes up in flames because one player failed a physical. And to learn after the deadline that the trade you thought all along isn't what you thought it was, there's got to be some way to deal with that. And I don't know what it would be. But it can't just be you either have to go through with the trade or don't, because that just leaves such awkward situations, would have left such awkward situations. And now the Warriors are stuck. Honestly, they thought they were going to get a top 7 guy, top 8 guy in their rotation, somebody who could give them a different type of defensive presence, somebody who would infuse them with energy like he did last season. And instead, they're getting a guy who won't play for months, and that they didn't know that he wouldn't play for months, and that they were not told, according to them, that he wouldn't play for months. And so it really is. It's a wild situation, and I don't know what the solution is, but I feel like it can't just be, yes, you have to accept this trade, or there has to be some way of going back retroactively and changing things.
Here's the thing. I think that opens up a can of worms of a lot of teams going, this guy's not as healthy as I was told. I think that turns it into a shit show. Maybe there needs to be something. Maybe the punishment is just, hey, we're going to take a pick away from the Blazers, or we are going to fine the Blazers, whatever that would be, $100,000, whatever that would be. I think that's the only thing that can be done. Yeah, you're right. The Warriors thought they were adding a significant role player, right? Got 8th or 9th guy in the rotation who can really defend and change some things on that end. it's not like they replaced anybody in this rotation with him. Like Wiseman isn't a contributor. So like, oh, now they're gonna wait.
Santa Cruz Warriors.
They got to wait 2 to 3 months. It's like, okay, were they waiting 2 to 3 months on Wiseman? Like, I just don't think there's a
they tried to trade him. They tried to trade him before the deadline.
Yeah, if it was that,
somebody who could actually help. That was the point.
Right, but if he's going to be out, that was 2
the
months,
major point.
Yeah.
The point was the money at the end of the day.
Salary
like, let's just
was also
$35 million
was a large part of it. Is a crap ton of money. Like, let's not go like that's a small little thing. And I know it doesn't matter to the actual team, but it matters to Lacob. And I think that's a large point of that. If anything, even if they weren't getting a piece, they were saying trade Wiseman so we could save money.
Yeah.
Because this trade originally was just a salary dump. They were getting 5 second-round draft picks when they originally traded him.
Yeah. Then all of a sudden,
it got bigger.
Yeah. Well, maybe the Blazers are like, well, this guy can't play. Like, his core
he's gonna be out 2 to 3 months. We got to get rid of him.
He should be out 2 to 3 months anyway. We got to get rid of this guy. Yeah, I just think, again, if you're going to go about this, if you're the Warriors, you've got to not put him front and center at a basketball game. You just can't. It's a really bad move on the Warriors' part. So I side with the Blazers.
Here's what they should have done. They should have had him front and center. And they should have had him like limping around, like really selling the injury. That's what they should have done.
Like, they should have made Mike Dunleavy Jr.
mockery.
Makes him laugh, and he like starts like, oh, my stomach, God, this core issue. I can't do it. Yeah, I can't. You know what? That's a good idea. If you're gonna put him front and center,
that's what they really should have done. Yeah,
absolutely. Speaking of the trade deadline, guys, obviously Kevin Durant. That's the big news, right? Kevin Durant goes to the Suns. Seemingly out of nowhere. This Nets thing fell apart so spectacularly, and now I think the Suns were 9th or 10th in title odds prior to the trade. Now they're 2nd. They're the number 1 team in the West in terms of title odds. They still have to get KD back. They've been playing a little bit better lately. Oh, by the way, Devin Booker's back. But Trey, this Kevin Durant thing, not to betray any confidences here, but you said that he had even surprised you, and you're pretty plugged in here. What was that notification like to you?
I went to sleep, honestly. So I had,
it was late. I forgot nothing. it was like 11
It was 1 a.m. here. And our group chat just felt so betrayed. but it was great because people were really upset with me. They thought I knew, and like I had been holding out, and I'm like, bro, I don't know anything. And that's one thing I can credit to him and his team is that they just do what they want to do. You know what I mean? And in order for it to work, I think honestly with all superstars is to be tight-lipped. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't really, if you're trying to do something, you want it to go, right? And everybody's like, "Yo, are you sad?" I'm like, "No, I'm not sad. Like, go win." Honestly, selfishly, this is someone I hang out with, but like, nah, like this is a business, and you do what's best for you. I think things obviously fell apart when they couldn't deliver a second, star.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's when Toronto was involved, quote unquote, for this 3-team deal. And, Masai probably had, different people carrying water to like leak these stories to do a spin job and never actually, do any business. So it held up. And, as the stories have been coming out, Kevin in front office had an agreement. Like if anything was to happen, you guys hold up your end of the deal of trading me. I'll be professional on my end, and you guys find me a trade partner. Well, when it came to the situation of, hey, we're going to trade Kyrie Irving, these are the situations. Now, when you're trying to find this trade partner, I don't want to go anywhere else. Y'all know where I want to be. We could have had this done in the summer.
This was the summer. Yeah, exactly.
This is summer. So I already told you guys who I wanted to play with. I want to play with Devin Booker, straight up. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what happened. So in Kevin Durant's fashion, he has, we always give LeBron, shit about GM stuff. Kevin Durant actually thinks of the franchise. It's not like doing them a favor.
What a crazy idea. What a crazy idea.
You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I know I'm about to leave, but like, how about y'all take this person this way? You know what I mean? And
I honestly would be like,
been a
fuck
part
y'all.
of 2 of
I'm
these.
burning this thing to the ground.
You know what I'm saying? He could easily do it, but this is the second franchise that he's also like bartered with. Like, all right, look, I'm going here, but maybe y'all go get this back. And people were like, people who don't know basketball was like, oh, they got fleeced. First of all, this is Danny Ainge's fault. Secondly, this is Kyrie Irving's fault. You know what I mean? Danny Ainge lowering the price of the brick for Rudy Gobert, right? Because now we got people saying, hey, I would give 3 firsts for OG, for OG.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? So then Rudy, gets traded for this large package.
I want to take it back even more, Trey. I want to take it back even more. I blame the Bucks and the Pelicans. No offense.
For the Drew Holiday deal.
I love Drew. There's no way he should have been 4 picks.
Okay,
no
you're
way.
right.
Yeah.
You're right. That's the originator. Yeah. So now people are like, what's the price of a superstar? They should have got Devin Booker back. How does this work? No, stop looking for those old classic deals where it's a head-to-head type. You got to be an all-star to get an all-star back. No, you better hope that you can get some type of collateral back to like, hey, you know what? I can turn something into this.
I mean, the Grizzlies apparently
Cam Johnson
offered everything they could, like outside of Ja.
For Mikal Bridges.
Well, no, for KD. They went like hey, whatever picks you want, you can have it. And like, because that's what it should be if you're gonna get Kevin Durant. I don't give a shit if he's 34 years old. You're getting KD, like what do you want? Yeah.
But people like Nets fans were so distraught at first, they didn't understand. And then basketball fans in entirety thought it was a robbery, but it's like, no, look, I see why the Nets did it. Joe Tsai now gets stress-free hoops, right? You don't have to cater to superstars. You don't have to do anything of this nature. You get guys that this reminds me of a college team, right? Mm-hmm. You're hoping that Mikal Bridges becomes an all-star at one point in time of his career on this acquisition.
Doable,
but then you get pieces, right? You get guys that have chips on their shoulder, quote unquote. You get Dinwiddie back, you get Doe, you get Mikal and Cam, who are good character guys that you can kind of put them in any environment and they're not divas yet. You know what I'm saying? Because we always want to do the darling thing until they actually start making money and do those things. But right now, we got the modern day AC Green on our hands. This guy's played 365 consecutive games. He's on pace for the Iron Man award.
Yo, did you see the box score from the last time the Suns won a game without Mikal Bridges?
Yes. So
that was nasty.
Exactly.
It was a disgusting rotation. It's so like Dragon Bender, Alex, like just gross.
Oh, it's super gross. So now you get a two-way guy that can come in and be effective.
Stop it, Jay. Stop.
They went all the way blows with Philly. You know what I'm saying? They went down to the wire with Philly. This team is going to compete. I don't see them dropping all the way down to the play-in. They're probably going to be a 6 to 7 seed. You know what I mean? Like they're going to lose some games. Don't get me wrong. But they're still a basketball team. What Phoenix is doing over there now, it's all on DeAndre Ayton and Chris Paul. You know what I mean? Because Durant's going to play defense. You know what I mean? Ayton, I get it. The 2 rebounds, we killed him for that. But then he had an 11 rebound game because they were boxing out or whatever Monty Williams made the excuse for. But I hope he watched that Bill Russell doc and understands what it really takes to win.
Unless they put that Bill Russell doc in Call of Duty, I don't think he watched it.
There you go, right?
Even if he watched it, I feel like he thinks that's what he's already doing. But
that's me.
And bubble wrapping Chris Paul in April and May.
Yeah. It's man. There's just so much about. I'm kind of mad we have to wait to see it, Jay, because I want to watch Kevin Durant on the Suns now. Like I want to be like the spoiled. I'm like I want it now. Like where is he? And now we got to wait weeks and weeks and weeks.
I'm such a nerd because I was so excited to watch the Nets after they got Bridges.
No, that's a fun team. That Nets team's a fun team.
That is a fun team. They have a lot of good players.
Yeah,
like they are loaded.
You know who they remind me of?
Good players.
The Nets before they got Kyrie and KD.
No, they remind me of the early Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown years. Because we didn't know what to expect from them. I didn't know Jason Tatum was going to become Jason Tatum. You know what I mean? Like I was like, they don't got KG in them no more. Isaiah Thomas got hurt. What are they going to do? And these dudes just kind of sprouted. Not saying that Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges are going to become those two. But it just reminds me of a young core that, the Celtics put all in, like
that can play,
kind of
like,
invested
right?
in,
Yeah.
and it can play right away,
And
and did it that way.
And they're sort of built on the same type of player, where the Nets have like every 6'7" to 6'8" wing in the entire league now.
And we
it's
also
crazy.
didn't even talk
They
about
just
their
have
starting
them all.
lineup. We didn't even talk about their starting lineup depth, right? Spencer at 6'6". Is it Joe Harris starts at the 2?
Yeah.
He's 6'4". Mikal Bridges is 6'7", probably 6'6".
I think he's 6'7".
Okay. Then you got the power forward who's Finney Smith. He's like, what, 6'8", 6'9"? And then you got
And
Claxton,
then Claxton could guard from point guard to center too.
6'11". Then you're bringing Cam. People were confused about Cam Thomas coming off the bench. Cam Thomas is not a starter. I mean, I get it. The 44 points. I'm not rolling. Not yet.
Cam
not
Thomas
yet.
is a starter.
He's a gunner, bro. He's a
Here's
gunner.
the thing.
I get
Here's
it.
the thing.
He's a gunner.
I keep getting Cam Johnson and Cam Thomas confused.
Yeah.
I thought you meant Cam Johnson.
No.
Too many Cams for you, Jack.
Here's the thing.
I did
Here's
that
the thing
on
about
phone
Cam
with my
Thomas.
brothers
Hold
the
on.
other day. We were talking for like 10 minutes, and I was just talking about Cam Johnson while he was talking about Cam Thomas, and I was getting furious. And then it was
he's such a great shooter. He's like, I don't know if he's a great shooter. You're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Here's the thing about Cam Thomas. Give him the ball, get the fuck out of the way. Just give him the ball, get the fuck out of the way. Like that's all I want to see.
But that's what I'm saying. But that's
games.
why he doesn't fit in that lineup. He has to cook with the second lineup out there because again, that first lineup is going to be sharing the rock. When Cam's out there,
I don't want that. This dude puts up 43 straight games, one of them off the bench. Give him the ball.
I'm not buying Cam Thomas.
Out of the way. Why not?
No. But here's the thing.
Bucket.
I love Cam Thomas. He's a bucket, rightfully so, but he takes bad shots.
Yeah,
he just
vibes.
vibes.
This is Zach's dream player.
Oh my God.
Everybody, Zach wants him to
gunning.
play 48 minutes.
You know where Cam
team.
Thomas needs to be? Utah. Stress-free hoops.
I would
he
never
would
do that.
average 39 points a game just off stress-free hoops because he could take those wild shots.
You know where he should be? He should be with the Lakers leading that team, not LeBron, not AD, none of those guys. He should be on the Warriors leading that team, not Steph, not Clay, not Draymond. He should be the star of every goddamn team. That dude is scoring like crazy.
So Cam Thomas is going to be, when Cam Thomas actually learns his actual bread and butter, because right now I think he's just got a natural feel of scoring. He's just a professional scorer, right? He knows how to. He's been scoring his entire career. But when he knows how to play the game, like, oh, I could pass the ball.
No, you don't want to do that. No,
he's not big on that.
He's Flip Murray 2.0, man. He's just like go out there and get buckets.
But that's what I'm saying. Whenever somebody's hurt, he can go get that.
Yeah,
he can go get that. He can go get that. So again, here's the thing. I don't want people to hear it and say, oh, you're hating on him. Yes, he could be a starter somewhere, but he doesn't work with that unit out there.
Yeah. I disagree.
You know what I'm saying?
I would just give him the ball and get out of the way. That's what I want. I like from a basketball sense, I know what you're saying. From an entertainment standpoint, I just want to see Cam Thomas score.
Oh, yeah, no, of course.
If you give him the ball, you might as well get out of the way because it doesn't matter where you are. He's not passing it to you.
He's going to catch LeBron in 4 years. If they give him the ball, he'll catch LeBron in 4 years. Like it's over. Mo, what's your biggest takeaway from the deadline? Non-KD edition.
Yeah, I thought Memphis needed to do more. I know they tried to get KD, but I think they needed to do more than just get Luke Kennard. I felt like this was
a good pickup though, man. Luke,
it's a fine pickup, but it's not going to do anything in the playoffs for them. He's not going to play that much. We've seen enough from Luke at this point. He's not going to move the needle for them.
They need someone who can shoot.
Yeah, and you know what's going to happen? He's not a playoff player. Everybody's going to pick at him on defense, and now you're going to play him and Ja at the same time.
Everyone's picking at Dylan Brooks on offense.
No, they want the defense wants to give Dylan Brooks the ball and just and clear out.
We should be allowed. This should be the first time where offense defense subs are allowed. You can't like cherry pick or whatever, but like once the ball crosses half court, you got to go.
It's that drill, right? You got to touch hands at half court or something, and that whole deal. But I felt like you just can't put. It's going to be hard in the playoffs to play Ja and Kennard at the same time, and that's going to be a real difficult situation
for sure.
I felt like they had to do more at the deadline. This is an opportunity for them, and then now that the Suns got KD and they got better, Denver picked up depth with picking up a center,
Thomas Bryant, and I think they get Reggie Jackson too, right?
Sounds like they're signing Reggie
Yeah.
Jackson, which
you
may
just
or may not
forgot-
be a
you just
blessing or
forgot
a curse.
about Thomas Bryant, though.
Yeah, I
You
did.
forgot about it.
I forgot his name.
You were like,
Thanks,
I
Jay.
know they picked up a center, but
Good job,
what
Jay.
name,
Thanks.
What
But
name was
that's
what
how
name was in your
quality
head? Hold on, I want to
acquisition
lean into
was.
this. What
I was
name
going to
was
say
in
Mark
your head?
Bryant. I was going to say Mark Bryant. And I've
Okay,
done that
all right,
more than
yeah.
once. And I knew it wasn't Mark Bryant. And I was like, fuck.
That
But-
would be a weird pickup.
Yeah. And I also think, the Clippers made some moves as long as they don't sign Russ. And I think, everybody's gotten a little bit better in the West. I felt like they needed to make a move and take a big swing. For me, that's kind of my biggest takeaway, is that their inaction or just a small move wasn't enough.
Yeah. The Kings don't do anything. No offense, Kessler Edwards. Kings don't do anything. The Grizzlies just get Kennard. Mavs obviously take a big swing. Wolves take a big swing. Clipper, I like what the Clippers did. The Clippers go and get Mason Plumlee.
It's interesting.
They needed someone who wasn't Moses Brown, right? To back up Zubats. And if you feel like you're going to go against Jokic at some point, you need bodies.
That's the only contender that Mason Plumlee would have been a significant upgrade.
Hold on, you put him on the lake. Oh, you said contender, never mind.
Yeah, contender. And then they also they don't really have a point guard now. They really don't.
They didn't have one in the first place
before, though, right? Paul George
they
been
had
running
2 guys
so
who
much
at least
that offense.
pretended to be point guards, John Wall and Reggie Jackson. But
Well,
now they've just
Bones.
decided, and maybe they'll get Russ, and we'll see about that. Obviously, they're campaigning for Russell Westbrook to go there. But if they don't, they do not have a point guard, which is kind of cool. It's interesting.
I think the idea that they're leaning towards Paul George being the primary ball handler.
Yeah, and just having wings everywhere and just having the defensive benefits of that.
I kind of
love that idea.
They already do this at the end of games where they don't run any offense. They just do the worst isolation shit in the world and hope it works. Bad. So it's they're just preparing themselves for that for 4 quarters.
Yeah. They kind of need to play smash mouth basketball because they don't have that guy to just organize them. And Bones Highland is not that. Definitely not.
Dude,
that.
if you gave me a
Gordon
Bones Highland Cam Thomas backcourt, oh my God, I'd move to that city.
You're moving wherever they are, Zach. You're moving wherever they are. That's going to be your run as a beat reporter.
So I guess Charlotte was trying to throw their hat in for Bones. That would have been fun. LaMelo and Bones.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would have loved it. I would have loved it, even though they would have lost a lot of bad. They would have lost a lot of ball games, but they would have been fun.
They lose a lot of ball games now.
Right.
I think the funny thing,
at least be fun.
Yeah. I think the funny thing about the whole Bones situation is Nuggets fans complaining about him being arrogant or his ego. And then he's like, oh man, go where you want it. And, he's trying to have this positive thing. Then he goes on Instagram Live in a private jet of Ballmer. And he's just this is how you treat somebody.
Yeah.
It reminds me of I'm all in on this kid. First of all, he's going to be a fan favorite. We haven't had a fun player in LA on both sides since Nick Young. You know what I'm saying? And he was going to be
Hold on.
No, he's right. He's right. Yeah, he's right.
Yeah, because everybody's so professional, bro. This is the thing. Jordan Clarkson didn't start getting out of his shell a little bit more until he went to other teams. You know what I'm saying? He was so quiet. I mean, obviously he played with Kobe, so Kobe wasn't really letting all that
Kobe
stuff
wasn't going to allow that.
But now you get somebody that's think about this. Kawhi, he don't even be he don't show no sense of humor when he with that team. They be wrestling, doing all this stuff, right? Reggie Jackson was the closest thing to a guy having fun on that squad. Paul George is still reserved. He'll loosen up a little bit. But Bones, listen, they're going to be having Bones night. They going to be doing he going to be dancing. He going to make his shots. This is going to be the funnest Clippers era, whether it works out or not, because he's going to be
having this team,
the time of his life. Yeah. Win or lose. He going to be in the club. He going to be outside.
He's gonna join Q and D Miles on that podcast as a tri-host.
There's certain players in this league that don't make a bunch of money, but they make it look like they got it.
Yeah,
he gonna show you what a millionaire look like in the NBA.
Uncle Bomber, will you please? Will you give me a table tonight?
Listen, he gonna be probably 9th man off that bench and have a Ferrari.
Oh man, absolutely.
Like, it's going to be
He's gonna have a new
amazing.
Ferrari every week.
Not saying you can't do that in Denver, but they just so buttoned up and they do it how they do it because Jokic is your guy. So you can't really be too loud and flashy. And I get it. That's a safe route. But the Clippers, there's no expectation.
LA,
It's like, all right, I don't play for the Lakers, so I don't have to worry about Bron.
Yeah.
My 2 vets and my 2 star players really ain't going to care.
No.
Kawhi and I'm not going to slap him on the wrist and say, hey, chill out. He going to get to have the time of his life, Jay.
Bones Highland is the winner.
Up.
He's the winner.
Buckle
here.
up.
Bones Highland. We'll see. We'll see.
And the city gonna adapt to Bones so quick.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna say Delaware. I ain't gonna say Delaware just like South
I
Central.
don't know.
But buckle up, baby. Buckle up, baby.
Mike Malone didn't seem to like him too much. Other players on the Nuggets team.
Mike Malone.
But you gotta understand.
Why did he call him Coach Mike instead of Coach Michael, and he decided to make a point of it?
Saying,
he probably calling him Money Mike.
Yeah.
It's funny that Reggie Jackson replaced him in Denver because Reggie Jackson at one point in his life was Bones Highland. Like he was the young guy on a really good team.
Just more
wouldn't accept his role.
But also the Clippers saved his life. So when you have that scary 1 foot out, 1 foot in moment where you're on the couch and you're like, damn, my phone didn't ring. I'm harassing my agent now. Did something happen yet? You know what I mean? When you get that, that's the sobering feeling of being an NBA player. So now Reggie has an appreciation. He's playing every single minute like it's his last. Bones hasn't had that moment yet. Even if Bones was on his way out, I don't even think Bones would realize that
he wouldn't know. He wouldn't know.
He wouldn't know.
No.
He wouldn't know.
Like he'd be like, the phone's not ringing because too many people are trying to call at once. Like that would be that would be the reason. Speaking of picking up guys, Mo, I'm curious where we are with the Westbrook thing, right? Paul George openly campaigning for him, talks about the Bulls trying to add him. They could use a guy in the backcourt, right? Like Lonzo's not back, and I don't know when that thing's going to be okay. But do you think that this version of Westbrook, and by the way, look, I don't even know if I'm allowed to say this, but that bullshit ass report that came out,
yes, that was
about Russ, that hit job. Fuck out of here with that. That was terrible. That was like so obvious, and like, come on, man, we got to be better than that as media. That was horrible.
I tweeted about it, but more importantly, that's really shitty from the Lakers, considering how much they talk about we care about our players and all of this bullshit that they throw out there. And then as soon as Russ leaves, immediately unloading all the bad stories and things like that. That's just a complete bullshit Bush League job from the organization themselves to start with, when they went out of their way to go get him. And everybody told them from the beginning it was a fucked up trade.
I was in that locker room, so I can't say to any expertise there. All I know is everyone I've talked to in every organization that Russ has played for has been like, this is a good dude. He may be stubborn. He may not play the way you want him to play. But in terms of like that's a dude that like is there for people. And so that hit job was so Bush League.
Yeah, it was garbage. It was garbage from the organization, and shows that they're beginning to become a garbage organization.
And the outlet.
I was gonna say the funniest thing about it. I hate it. I do agree with the Bush League stuff, right? But what I hate is we get into this whole thing of now people have to like push that he's not a bad person.
Right.
Like, we don't need that narrative. I think everyone knows that he's not a bad person.
Right.
Let's keep it between the lines and say he hasn't had his best years. He is hard to watch at times.
He's on the way out, right? Like he's not at his peak. Like he's on the way down, on the way out. Like,
but there's people that do think that he's just in the wrong situation. But it's hard for an only child to finally see that you got a kid brother 13 years later. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That is the situation. Like, hey, we came home with a baby and Russ is the teenager. He's had his way the entire time. And you think about him playing for the Thunder, him playing for the Wizards, successful. Him playing for the Rockets and playing for the Lakers, you got to share. And it's a struggle for him. So in his next situation, Paul George, I know you had your best season with Russ on your team, but when Russ wants the ball and Russ wants to make a decision, how's Kawhi going to feel about this? When it's down the line, I got to get him the ball, and he feels he can take that mid-range fast pull-up.
Well, here's the thing, Trey.
Instead of deferring.
He's not a $47 million player anymore, right? Like he'll sign for whatever that minimum is, like $2 million prorated, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference between, hey, this $47 million player is trying to do some things, and this veteran minimum player is trying to do some things, even if it's the same guy. And so I don't think there's that pressure from the Clippers to fit him in the way there was with the Lakers.
Right.
I disagree.
Also, here's the thing, Jay, before you kick off right quick. My thing with this, right, and how I see it, with Russ, it is such a I do see the importance. I don't like that whole idea of like he's making this much amount of money, so he has to play. I think that narrative was always whack, but hopefully this is the flashing lights. I never mad at the player signing these contracts, but the flashing lights of signing a point guard well into like 31 and 32 for 5-year deals. They have yet to age great. You know what I'm saying? The Lowry deal, the John Walls. I don't know where Dame's at yet. You know what I mean? And Dame's still like 32, 33. He's not there yet.
Yeah, somewhere in that
When
range.
those guys get to like 35, 36, and you owe them 40, and you owe them 45.
Yeah.
Oh.
All those deals are for right now, and
If
we'll
you're
figure it
not
out
going-
later.
If you don't feel like you're going to win a championship, I'm not signing somebody for 200.
I mean, it's a great. I'm all for it. I'm all for players getting their money, but they're like some of these contracts are going to be.
Oh, they're going to be brutal at the back end,
man. Yeah.
Jay,
Back
what are
end
you
of
going to
these
say
things.
before I cut you off? Sorry,
Jimmy
brother.
Butler one's going to be bad too.
Here's why it doesn't matter what you're paying Russ, because Russ is not going to change. It doesn't matter if he's a $2 million guy, a $47 million guy. He's
Right.
going to act the exact same way, and he's not who he used to be, and he hasn't accepted that. And to his credit, he came off the bench in LA. He accepted coaching.
Man, I think he played pretty well in that role. I really do. Maybe I'm great on a curve
true
here.
Shooting percentage is less than 50%. His turnover rate is incredibly high. Like his usage is almost 30%, and he's terrible at creating efficient shots. That's
usually how we give the six-man award out.
That is not a
He was the leader.
player.
Yeah,
at all.
that's usually
Like,
Jay. That's usually how we give the six-man award out. Like,
But Jay, you're right. But Zach's also right. Like that Laker team needed him to do the way he was playing off the bench for that Laker team.
they didn't. Nobody needs someone shooting less than 50%
Jay,
shooting.
did you
Nobody
not
needs
see this
that.
team? Did you not see this roster of this team? They were dog shit.
yeah.
I mean, like, you don't understand. Like, that's
were
how
dog
bad
shit
but that's
partly
how
because
bad
of
the team
him.
was.
No, they're
They-
dog shit
they-
because they're trying to fit Troy Brown and Juan Toscano Anderson and Austin
yeah,
Reeves
I mean,
into an
obviously-
8-man
obviously,
rotation.
they're
Like,
trying
Austin
like,
Reeves
who's coming off the bench for
Juan
them then?
Toscano are all right.
Yeah, I mean, this is part of it. Like, that's the thing. He
Toscano's
played a
not good.
role for them. But the thing is, this is the worst addition for the Clippers. Because all they need is a point guard that can get them in stuff and go stand in the corner and hit a shot. That's exactly not Russ. Where I want Russ to go, I actually want to see Russ in Chicago. They need a boost of energy. I don't know if
I don't know, man. I don't
they need
know
a
that.
boost of stuff. I think this is a dude. I think he can get them into the play-in tournament because it doesn't seem like they're trying to tank. And well, they can't. Their pick's going to Orlando.
No, it's top 4. They should have been taken. They
The
should have
whole
sent
time, but
everybody
they
out.
weren't. But
Yeah.
now at this point,
It's
too
just
late.
top 4 protected, man. They messed up.
But I think they got it. And now they got to go in for the play-in tournament. And I think Russ can go get them in there. But the one place I don't want him to be is with the Clippers because I think that's the worst place for him.
I think that's the only place, Jay, where you can kind of fit him in and out a little bit. Like where it's like, all right, hey, tonight we don't need you, Russ. We got, Kawhi's feeling good, Paul George feeling good, whatever.
You can't tell Russ that. You can't.
What you can tell him that by not playing him.
But I don't trust Zach. I don't trust Ty Lue to not play him.
Man, Ty's a good fucking coach.
But Ty's also one of the dudes that's campaigning for him. I think Ty's a great coach, but I think at the end of the day, is going to put him in at the end of games.
I think if that was true, that concern, I think the John Wall thing would have been way messier. I don't think you're necessarily wrong. I think Ty's not going to be married to that if it's not working out.
Ty's been campaigning for these point guards the whole time, but like, this dude's not a dude that fits for them.
What does Russ become like if you sit him down on the bench and don't play him? What is he like if you?
Well, if you believe certain reports,
don't call him a vampire. You know what's crazy?
This is how I know that's bullshit, because he said it on TV and said it in the article instead of in print. That's how you know it's bullshit.
Also, normally it's called a cancer. It's not a vampire. And
they just been watching What We Do in the Shadows. I think that's all that is.
I don't. The vampire shit is crazy though, because like he sucks the blood.
Just a pro tip for everyone out there. Dave dropped in the chat. Jackie Daytona from Tucson, Arizona. If a report is said on TV and not in print, there's a reason. That's a little safety of like, oh, I'm just talking, instead of this went through an editorial process. That's when you know that something is not on the up and up. Like, I'm sorry, man. That vampire shit was bullshit. I'm not saying he was good. He might have been bad in the locker room. But man, come on. That's just such a bad hit job. I don't like the idea of Russ in Chicago. Like, there's enough of a spotlight there.
Where does he fit?
I don't know if he does work.
Nowhere, because he's not willing to.
No, there are places where you can kind of, like, I don't know, childproof some of that impact if it doesn't work out. I mean, he did work on the Wizards. Yeah, he actually, look, man, Dave's right in the chat. He was really good on the Wizards. He got them to the playoffs.
But you also have to understand, Brad deferred to him. So it's a mutual thing. Like, if the player's not superior, everyone has a mutual respect because Russ literally works hard. It's not no question about that. But if the player is, quote unquote, feels he's like superior to him, they're going to look at it like, hey, you're doing too much. You know what I'm saying? And when you surround him, like, Brad was hurt a lot. So again, Russ gets the chance to have hands-on mentoring. Mm-hmm. Hey, young guy, da-da-da, do this, da-da-da. You can't question a guy that comes in and busts his ass. LeBron busts his ass.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? AD, I don't know what he do behind doors, but he has the resume to kind of look at this point like, I'm a champion. Even though Russ probably has a better decorated career, he's going to look at like, oh, you ain't on our level because you ain't won yet, right?
Yeah.
And in those situations, same thing with James Harden. This is my show. Get in line.
Yeah.
So every situation, he has to remember whether he chooses Chicago, LA, or Miami, remember whose show it is. I think he can go to Chicago and become the guy, the alpha guy.
Him and Jimmy, I want to see it. I don't know if that's a good combination. Yeah,
they're gonna bump heads.
They'll be forehead to forehead the whole time. Like,
because when you look at like a DeMar's going to be like, DeMar's not going to be pushing back.
Yeah, Zach's not going to push back. Yeah, you're right.
They're going to be like, all right, cool, whatever you need to do.
And they're bad anyway. So like, if they inject,
doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it works or doesn't work there. So, Miami and Clippers, there's stakes there.
Russ is Allen Iverson at the end of his career, where he's still very much talented enough to help a team. It's just he still sees himself as a player he's not anymore.
Yeah.
And he's not willing to let go of that. And until he gets there, I wouldn't want him on basically any team.
But we might be in a Carmelo situation too, right? How can he prove he's accepted the role until you give him a chance to accept the role? Like, he sort of accepted in LA. It didn't go well.
He did a good job of that. He did a good job of that in LA. He did what they asked
at least publicly.
Yeah,
at least,
I mean, there was plenty of resistance to go to the bench. He finally went to the bench. We can again debate again if we want
stuff when he's in the game.
Yeah, no, because what did you say in the beginning, Jay? What did you say in the beginning? He can't change. Like, that's the thing. All these teams that are looking to sign him right now, he's not changing.
Yeah, but he thought he was talking about Cam Thomas when he said he couldn't change. He didn't. He got confused.
Is that the
the kind of the other end of the spectrum on this? The deal that I loved, and not necessarily for how much it's going to help the team this year, but because I think it could pay huge dividends long term, is Mike Conley in Minnesota.
Yeah,
I love them.
That's
getting
a good move. That's
a mature
really
player. I love them getting someone who can just show Anthony Edwards what it takes on a day-to-day basis to take care of yourself, to develop the right habits, to be team first, to be a perfect leader. Like Mike Conley is going to be such a good fit for that organization and
The
for
dude's
Anthony
so
Edwards
professional.
that I love it. Yeah,
They got an adult.
I
That's
think
the
that
most
is-
important thing.
Yeah.
that is an awesome thing for Anthony Edwards' career. On top of, like, Conley will probably help them just from an organization standpoint far more than D'Angelo Russell ever could.
Yeah, absolutely.
Today's show is brought to you by our friends at Indeed. Visit Indeed.com/NBA Show 22 to start hiring now. When you're drafting your fantasy team, do you ever wish you could do the same thing with your business team? If you're building a roster to win the league, you need Indeed. Indeed is the hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Don't spend hours on multiple job sites looking for candidates with the right skills when you can do it all with Indeed. Find top talent fast with Indeed's suite of powerful hiring tools like Indeed Instant Match, assessments, and virtual interviews. If you hate waiting, Indeed's U.S. data shows over 80% of Indeed employers find quality candidates whose resume on Indeed matches their job description the moment they sponsor a job. Indeed knows when you're growing your own business, you have to make every dollar count. That's why with Indeed, you only pay for quality applications that match your must-have job requirements. Visit Indeed.com/NBA Show 22 to start hiring now. Just go to Indeed.com/NBA Show 22. Indeed.com/NBA Show 22. Terms and conditions apply. Cost per application pricing not available for everyone. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
Before we get out, speaking of Anthony Edwards, he is an all-star, named as one of the replacements. Siakam an all-star, also De'Aaron Fox an all-star. And I'm guessing, Jay, that now that we have Jay King's Minute of the week, we weren't expecting you, so it wasn't in the rundown, but now we have you on board. So, Jay, your King's Minute begins now.
Two-time, two All-Stars, Domantas Sabonis, De'Aaron Fox. They got two. That game the other night against Dallas, Luka, Kyrie, they're both out there. You know who it was who dominated in crunch time more than anybody else? De'Aaron Fox. 14 points in overtime, getting to whatever he wants. He's been incredible in the clutch this season. Like he's been
the best clutch player. He's been the best.
Absolutely awesome down the stretch of close games. He has been like, it's funny that people wrote him off, honestly, because it was very clear that he just needed like more guidance, a better organization, and putting him next to Sabonis and putting him with a coach who is really holding that team to a high standard.
And time, that's the King's Minute right there. Thank you for listening to the Athletic NBA Show podcast.
Fox,
thank
baby.
you to Trey. Thank you to Jay. Thank you to Mo. Thank you to Cam Thomas. Thanks, Dave. Keep it locked on the Athletic. Subscribe to The Bounce. Subscribe to the Athletic. And we'll talk to you next week.